Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Hey, you know what? We're less than a month away from Preterist Pilgrim Weekend 2018. That's July 12th through 14th here at the Ardmore Convention Center. Now, let me tell you, we will be offering free live streaming of the entire conference. Chad Kenau is going to be here again to take care of all of that technical support. And again, this will be free. However, last year, and of course, it costs a lot of money to get Chad here to do all of that. Last year, as we will this year, we are offering this free. You do not have to. It's not obligatory, to give us a gift to help finance this. However, as I mentioned, it is pretty expensive. So if you can give us just a tiny bit just to help us out with the expenses that we are incurring to be able to provide this, it's not the technology, it's all of the travel expense and the accommodation and the food, et cetera, et cetera. So just like last year, you'll be given the opportunity to offer us a gift for the live streaming. Once again, it's not obligatory, all right? But you were so kind last year to help us out. We managed to break even, and that's all that we ask, all right? We're not trying to make money here. So I'll be making an announcement coming up very soon how to sign up for the live stream. Now, we want you here, right? We want you to come, want you to participate in the fellowship. And oh, by the way, we're going to have three men here, authors of fantastic books, and they'll be able to sign your book. Daniel Rogers, author of The Last Enemy and the Triumph of Christ. Many of you have ordered that book. Fantastic book. Daniel will be here. Dan Derry, author of the brand new book, The Transition Between the Two Covenants. He's from Canada. He's going to be here. He'll be able to sign your book. Alan Bondar, another one of our speakers, author of the fantastic book, The Journey Between the Veils. Boy, that book is wonderful. Alan will be here and can sign your book. So come to Ardmore. If you don't already have a copy of each one of those books, you can purchase those books here at a discount, and each one of those men will be able to sign that for you. All right. Oh, by the way, this will be a very short week, all right? I'm only going to be with you today and tomorrow in videos because, guess what? Wednesday is my wife and my 49th wedding anniversary. And so we're going to take a few days off. Not going to go anywhere. We're just going to kick back and relax, pardon me, which we don't get to do very often. And with the Preterist Pilgrim Weekend coming up, you know what? Things are super duper hectic. But we just decided that we're going to take off Wednesday through Saturday, and of course, Saturday, Sunday, to give us a little bit of time to recuperate, to celebrate our 49th wedding anniversary. And so, I'll be with you today and tomorrow, and then starting Wednesday through Friday, I will not have videos this week. All right, we are continuing our study of the resurrection, 1 Corinthians 15, Romans chapter 8. Now, we've been doing a comparative study between Romans 8 and 1 Corinthians 15, and I've been sharing with you that concept that Paul says the whole creation groans in labor pains until now. That's the messianic suffering. In the Jewish narrative and in the biblical narrative, there was a timeline of events that had to take place, not scattered out over 2,000 years of time, but rather in the last generation. It's absolutely astounding to me when people try to say, well, one day is with the Lord 1,000 years after as a day, and it's been 2,000 years since first century, so that's only 2 days. Folks, that is not what Paul was talking about. But nonetheless, okay, don't want to get too sidetracked here. I've been showing you that this concept of the tribulation before the resurrection is found throughout Scripture, Old Testament, New Testament. And corollary to that, direct corollary to that, is the concept, you have tribulation, okay? You have suffering and martyrdom. You have vindication at the day of the Lord. Now, I want you to catch something that is extremely, extremely powerful. In Romans chapter 8, Paul said, I reckon that the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared with the glory that is about to be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creation groans and waits eagerly for the manifestation of the sons of God. What's Romans chapter 8 looking for? Well, he tells us the redemption of creation, the redemption of the body, the resurrection. Now watch this. This is so critical. Romans chapter 8 puts the vindication of the martyrs, that period of tribulation in which Paul was living, would result in the vindication of the martyrs. When? At the redemption of creation. Let me say that again. The vindication of their suffering, their glorification, the redemption of the body. In other words, the resurrection would occur at the time of the redemption of creation. You know, virtually 99.9% of all commentaries agree that Romans chapter 8 is talking about, the total redo of creation. When does that take place? When does this ostensible redemption of creation take place? Catch the power of this. It occurs at the end of the millennium. Let me say that again. The redemption of creation occurs at the end of the millennium. Revelation chapter 20, 10 and following, it's the passing away of the old creation, the coming in of the new creation. Oh, but wait. That redemption of creation in Romans chapter 8 is the time of the vindication of the martyrs. When would be the vindication of the martyrs? Well, Paul said, remember, I reckon that the suffering of this present time, not worthy to be compared with the glory that is about to be revealed. They were suffering, they were being tribulated, pressured, persecuted. But that trouble was not to be compared with the glory that was about to come, that they were eagerly looking for. Apokaradokia, Greek word, which means standing on the tiptoe with neck outstretched. Imminence. They were expecting it. Apekdekomai. An eager expectation. Imminence. What were they looking for again? Vindication of their martyrdom and suffering at the redemption of creation. But the redemption of creation, the resurrection of Romans 8, the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 is at the end of the millennium. Oh, but wait. The vindication of the martyrs, all of the blood of all of the righteous shed upon the earth from righteous Abel unto Zacharias would be vindicated at the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. Therefore, the resurrection of Romans 8, the redemption of creation of Romans 8, the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 would be at the end of the millennium at the time of the vindication of the martyrs, which was in AD 70. Folks, this theme of the tribulation and the vindication of martyrdom cannot be ignored. And that means you cannot have the beginning of the millennium in AD 70. AD 70 was the vindication of the martyrs. But the martyrs in Revelation 20, the martyrs in Revelation 6, the martyrs in Revelation 12, the martyrs in Revelation 14, the martyrs in Revelation 16 were waiting for the day of the Lord. Even though they were given white robes, told to rest until that day of the Lord. Just like those martyrs in Revelation 20 were seated on thrones waiting vindication at the end of the millennium judgment. When we conflate Romans 8 and the eager expectation of the redemption of creation, i.e. vindication of martyrdom, with Revelation chapter 20, it absolutely demands that the resurrection of Romans 8, 1 Corinthians 15, Revelation 20 was in AD 70. Well, we'll go back to Romans chapter 8 tomorrow and begin to look at some other things that Romans 8 shares with us about that coming redemption of the body. Thanks for joining me for today. We'll see you on the flip side.